think it's be good to touch on what's going to happen with WWE. Good to touch on my thoughts around that, if that's okay.
Yes, of course.
So, basically, in the same way you've had to take me back in time a little bit.
Yes.
I want you to pipe up any term you don't understand that I'm saying, anything that I'm saying, just interrupt me, right?
Sure, go.
So,
go for it.
There's a lot of okay, let's explain what WrestleMania is. So WrestleMania 34, 34th year of WrestleMania, right? So it's what happens once a year. It happens basically the same weekend as your MMA event that you're going to.
Yes.
So there's many matches, and what WrestleMania is a culmination of different rivalries and everything. They all kind of get settled at WrestleMania. The belts get exchanged. If they're gonna get, if someone's gonna lose a belt, they'll tend to lose it at WrestleMania.
Sure.
Particularly the world title belts. At the moment of which there's two, because they've separated Monday Night Raw and I think it's Tuesday SmackDown. So there's two belts.
SmackDown on Tuesday now?
I think so, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
It used to be on a Saturday, right?
Yeah, I think it goes out on a separate day here, but I think it's going. Okay. Yeah, it's changed. I can't remember.
Okay.
Now.
No, that's fine.
So anyway, there's a lot of different matches, a lot of cool matches I could talk about, but really the one I'm going to touch on the most and probably keep it to this, at least most of what we're talking about,
sure,
is the main event, Brock Lesnar, who's going in as the heavyweight championship, world WWE World Heavyweight Champion, versus Roman Reigns, who's going in as the challenger, the winner of the Royal Rumble, to face the champion, right? That's the main event at WrestleMania. Now, to understand this main event and to understand what's going on as well, because I like to think I understand some of the backstage stuff, because I've been reading and following wrestling for years, and I understand not just the matches, but what goes into producing something and all these other things. And it's really interesting, at least to me. So, I'm going to geek out a little bit. But basically, to understand this main event, you need to understand what happened 3 years ago.
Okay, what happened 3 years ago?
Like you were speaking about. So 3 years ago, Brock Lesnar went into WrestleMania at the main event against Roman Reigns.
Okay.
Right? Brock Lesnar at that time had beaten The Undertaker to end The Undertaker's win streak.
Okay.
He went into WrestleMania subsequently after winning the title separately as a WWE champion. Okay. Roman Reigns went in as the challenger. Right? Okay. He basically decimated Roman Reigns.
Okay.
For however long it was, half an hour or whatever. And I know it's wrestling, but I mean, few times have I ever seen anything look that brutal and that real.
Really?
Yeah, because the thing about Brock Lesnar is he's, and of his own admittance and what they call in wrestling, he's not someone who loves the business.
Okay.
And that's a term they use for somebody who might be good, but they've not grown up loving the business. As most wrestlers have grown up fans, become wrestlers from a young age, worked their way up through the ranks, and eventually made it onto the main stage. And they genuinely, what they say, love the business. Brock isn't like that. Brock was a real what you call an Olympic wrestler.
He was.
So he's a real amateur wrestler, they call it. So he won everything at that level. He's an athlete, and he was put in the direction of sports entertainment, i.e. professional wrestling.
Yes.
Because something was recognised in him that he's got the attributes. He's a physical specimen. They know that they can get this guy over, which means they can promote him in a way that the fans will enjoy him. So obviously he's been part of WWE from years and years and years ago, and he's made a return over the past few years. So he was put into WWE, and he was trained at an older age. Well, no, he was trained at the right age, but he was trained to wrestle. And he was in a wrestling academy with people like Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, Dave Bautista. He was there at the same time, John Cena. They were trained all at the same time.
Yep.
They were the stars that came out of that kind of academy for that period. But Brock, from early on, was difficult. He didn't really enjoy the atmosphere. He didn't really enjoy the business. He didn't get it. In the end, he was actually sent off somewhere else to just train alone. So he just trained alone with his own trainer.
No way.
He was known to potentially injure people because he didn't necessarily have the same regard for not hurting people that traditionally what wrestling's meant to be is, you can create a real look, but both guys come out the ring with everything intact. Brock maybe didn't get that the same way the other guys did, which obviously rubs people up the wrong way because he's getting in the ring with you and you're scared because, not scared, but you're worried that I might not be able to wrestle for a year because this guy's going to throw me over his back and I'm going to land on my neck because he didn't try to throw me properly or try to protect me in the ring. So anyway, move forward. His initial stint in the WWE went fantastically well. He got a major push, which means that basically he was put out to the forefront as this is going to be the main guy. He was called the next big thing. He was young. I think he's the youngest person to have won the WWE titles, like 22 years old.
Yep.
He was just coming in, demolishing people, throwing people around, beat The Rock for the WWE title, which is a massive thing. Basically, they put in the biggest star possibly ever and let Brock go over, which means they made the decision that Brock's going to win and The Rock had to put him over, which means...
They're good friends, right? In real life.
I don't know. I don't really know because Brock's a weird guy, isn't he? He doesn't really like anybody.
I know. I'm pretty sure The Rock has come out to support him when Brock has fought in the UFC.
Yes. I think a few wrestlers have been there. Austin's been there as well. Stone Cold's been there to support him and a few others. But the point with Brock is that me of making all of this is that he's not necessarily a guy who loves the business, right?
Yeah.
But he's a guy who's been massively successful from the business because he is a beast and he is... People love watching him, including myself, right? Okay, so back to WrestleMania 31. Let's just touch on Roman Reigns briefly and who he is. Roman Reigns comes from the same bloodline as The Rock.
Really?
Yes, so Roman Reigns is distantly related to The Rock.
Is he really?
Yeah, and distantly related to a lot of the Samoan wrestlers who are like wrestling families. So unlike Roman Reigns, wrestling's what literally in his blood. He, is someone that's grown up in the business. He was a kid, and other Samoan wrestlers who were like his uncles used to bring him to the wrestling. He's then gone on to that was the only thing he was ever going to do with his life is become a pro wrestler. So unlike Brock, he is like, someone who would want to just wrestle until he can't anymore, basically.
I'm with you.
So you've got two very different characters and two, like what Jim Ross would say, combustible elements, right? So fast forward to WrestleMania 31. WrestleMania 31, Brock goes in as champ, Roman Reigns goes in as challenger. Roman Reigns is getting hammered, right? Getting thrown around left, right, and centre. And some of the things Brock was doing in that match I didn't think were humanly possible. I'm not exaggerating.
Really?
He's picking a guy, Brock, we all know the size of Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns isn't a small guy. Roman Reigns is 20 plus stones himself of muscle. Yeah, he's not a small guy. And he's picking him up from a stationary position and throwing him over the top rope, over his own head. Like, how you do that, I don't know. Now, I know a guy can help you do that, but that's still pretty impressive. Anyway, the point is, the fans don't like Roman Reigns to this day.
Really?
So WWE have chosen Roman Reigns, which has kind of been a mistake by the WWE, I think.
To be a bit of a heel.
No, they've chosen, the opposite. They want Roman Reigns to be their guy.
Really?
Yeah, but the problem is sometimes when WWE do this, they don't always get it right, and people aren't into Roman Reigns.
Really?
Me included, I'm not into him. I don't really get his whole gimmick, as they call it in wrestling.
Sure.
Don't really enjoy it. They've tried to make him look like a cross between Diesel, The Rock. There's a bit of a Rock in there because of the tattoo and the Samoan look, and probably a slight bit of the Undertaker. But then he's got a move. His special move is a spear. Fine, a spear's a pretty cool move, and a punch. Now, obviously, he's not punching you for real, and everyone knows. So he kind of runs across the ring.
That's his finisher.
Yeah, he jumps. It's called the Superman punch. And he jumps in the air and punches you in the face. And obviously, that isn't a real punch. And so,
what does it look like?
Not
because
very good.
In MMA we have a Superman punch as well.
Yeah, well, it doesn't look very good.
It doesn't. Okay.
As in, I've seen it, and sometimes it's pulled off better than other times.
Okay.
It's all about timing and how the cameras catch that.
Sure.
To make it look as good as possible. But
sure.
I just think it's a bad move. I just think you've got a guy who's like that size. He should have a move where he probably picks you up and slams you, or does something that's a little bit more dominating than running up and punching you. Like, that's something I think you should have a smaller guy doing.
Yeah.
He's trying to get over and he runs and he's a slightly more athletic guy. He jumps in the air and punches you. But anyway, so he's just not over with the fans, full stop. The fans aren't really into him. They don't really get why he's getting the push, as they call it, to be the champ. It was the same at WrestleMania 31, right? Probably even worse. Anyway, the way WrestleMania 31 ended is that them two beat the living daylights out of each other, and then what's called Money in the Bank is like a thing where the wrestlers wrestle for a contract that they can cash in at any time to then win the belt.
Okay.
So when both guys were down and out, Brock and Roman Reigns, a guy called Seth Rollins, who is over with the fans and at the time was really over, ran down to the ring with his Money in the Bank briefcase, cashed it in, jumped on Brock Lesnar's head, and then I think he knocked Brock Lesnar out. And then I don't know if he pinned Brock or he pinned Roman Reigns, but either way, he came out of WrestleMania 31 as the champion.
Okay.
So there's like a crazy twist at the end.
Okay.
Fine. Fast forward to WrestleMania 34. Here we are. We're in the same position. Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
Brock's been the champ since last year.
Okay.
So last year, Brock Lesnar rematched after 10, 12 years or whatever, Goldberg. At WrestleMania, Goldberg went into WrestleMania as the champion. After 6 minutes, Brock Lesnar came out the champion. They had a 6-minute match.
Wow.
Yeah, they didn't last long. Goldberg threw Brock Lesnar through a barrier where the fans sit, threw him around for a bit. Brock Lesnar kicked out and then basically beat up Goldberg for like a couple of minutes and pinned him. 1, 2, 3. That was it.
Wow.
And then since then, Goldberg's been the champ. Sorry, Brock Lesnar's been the champion for the past year. Brock Lesnar will be losing the championship this year. It's obvious.
You think so?
He'll be going to UFC. It's happening. So, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing with Brock Lesnar that I think it could all go pear-shaped at WrestleMania.
Go on.
All those years ago, I think it was WrestleMania 20, they did Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. Not for the belt. It was just a match.
Okay.
Just one of the main events. It was
okay.
Obviously, you can imagine it was an attraction.
Yeah.
Obviously, Brock Lesnar's coming off the back of being dominant in the WWE for 2 years.
Yeah.
Goldberg's coming off the back of just being dominant, not only in the WWE for the stint that he had at the WWE, but also being dominant in WCW for as long as he was as well. These guys,
he was like the Stone Cold, wasn't he, of WCW?
Yeah, but also he was kind of like, his attitude's a lot like Brock's. He wasn't a lover of the business.
Really?
In WCW, he's got a similar background. He's come from an American football background.
Huge guy,
broke into wrestling, was trained to be a wrestler, got a really cool look, like Brock, got a great look. UFC fight, knows how to fight MMA. He's a mixed martial artist. He can basically, what WCW did is made him look like a UFC fighter, put him in UFC gloves, went out to the ring, legitimately hurt people, probably worse than Brock.
Really?
Yeah, that's the main complaint about him. He's just
the jackhammer was a cool move, man.
Yeah, but I think it busted a lot of people up as well.
Yeah.
He's what's called a stiff worker in wrestling terms, which means
what does that mean?
So it means that he'll work stiff. He won't necessarily try and protect you that much.
Okay.
And 2, it means that when you work with him, it hurts because some of the stuff he's doing is real, almost.
I'm with you.
I mean, famously, he kicked Bret Hart in the head. Bret Hart had a stroke and had to retire. Yeah, he concussed Bret Hart because he accidentally kicked him too hard in the head because his style was very stiff, as they say. It's very aggressive.
I'm with you.
So, rather than Bret Hart's a fine example, or other wrestlers who they'll make their stuff look super real, but literally you'll come out the ring with no bumps or bruises.
Okay.
Because they know how to protect you in the falls, in the punches, in the kicks.
Yeah.
With people like Goldberg and Brock, particularly Goldberg, it's the opposite. Goldberg was a dangerous guy to work with.
Okay.
And in WCW, he was trained up, but didn't like the business. He didn't he didn't understand the business.
Okay.
So he just thought it was all about winning. But it's not in wrestling. Literally, because he was a competitive guy.
Yeah.
If he was told you're not going to win tonight, he didn't like it.
Wow.
He would say, no, I am going to win tonight. In a real fight, I'd win. And the guys in the back would be saying, I know in a real fight you'd win, but it's wrestling.
Wow.
Yeah, that was Goldberg's attitude. Hence why in the WCW he had what's called the streak, where he, forget Undertaker's streak. This guy didn't lose for like 100-something matches. He'd just come out, literally beat the guy up, throw him around for like a few minutes, and then go back 1, 2, 3, and then go back into the back. Anyway, Goldberg came over to the WWE. They built Goldberg. Then they let Goldberg beat The Rock. They let Goldberg beat Triple H. They let Goldberg beat everyone who was around at the time. And then eventually Goldberg was due to leave. Brock was due to leave. They were both at the end of their contract. So WWE, in their infinite wisdom, thought, I know, these two guys who hate the business, basically they've grown, at this point, they've grown to really dislike the business.
Really?
They're both tied out, both carrying injuries,
Okay.
both fed up with the demands of WWE,
Okay.
and both weren't originally around. They didn't sign up for it. You know, they didn't want this anymore, right? Whereas, like, you'll get people who, like, will stay in the business for 30 years of their life and they'll have every injury possible to man and they'll just wrestle through it. They don't care.
Okay.
Brock and Goldberg ain't like that. They've made their impact. They want to go home. They see themselves as, like, winners. We've done everything here.
Of course.
Because they've got a slightly different mentality. So WWE in their infinite wisdom thought, let's put these two guys in the ring together at WrestleMania, the biggest stage of them all. It's going to be a great match. Built a match, and it was not a great match. Both of them basically fluffed the match.
Really?
They didn't want to be there. And it's probably the worst match in WrestleMania history. It's not a good match.
Really?
Yeah, I think in the end, I think Goldberg wins.
Okay.
Yeah, Goldberg won. But it was just such a bad match. I think there's about a 5-minute stare off at the beginning because they both didn't like each other. Legitimately didn't like
in
each
real
other.
life?
Yeah. So obviously WWE in the back are now worried, like, are these guys going to do business? Meaning, are they going to go out there and have a match? Are they going to do the business? Or is there going to be like a big problem here where we can't actually, can you imagine? Because all of a sudden you've got two guys who are probably more at home in an MMA octagon than they are in a wrestling ring where they've been told they've got to do certain things.
Yeah.
And they're both super competitive and they don't want to give each other anything.
Yeah.
You've got a problem. Genuine problem. Because it all could just go pear-shaped. But anyway, it did go pear-shaped. The match was awful, but they did the finish, which is they did the ending they were meant to do.
Okay.
But the fans were booing, basically.
No way.
Yeah, it went down really bad. Brock lost it in the ring at the beginning of the match and started effing and blinding at Goldberg.
Really?
Yeah, which obviously the cameras picked up and is not ideal. You've got Goldberg and he just probably didn't want to do the fight, didn't want to do the match, and so they were really angry at each other in the ring. And for about 5 minutes, nothing happened.
Wow, that's a long time in wrestling.
Yeah, and not in a good way. It wasn't like a really cool standoff. Fast forward, they've done Goldberg and Brock Lesnar rematch, which went really well last year. And, you know, that's only because Brock was getting the belt and Brock knew he was coming out of there as the champ.
Okay.
Yeah, and Goldberg's older and more humble now. And it was like his last payday. And he was probably happy to drop the belt.
Yeah.
And they've probably got a respect for each other behind the scenes now.
Sure.
Now, Brock's leaving. Brock ain't going to be there. After Mania, Brock's going home, right? And I just have this feeling that Brock might do a bit of a funny one because Brock's no-showed a couple of events.
Has he really?
Which in wrestling terms is just such a no-go. I mean, you get to the event even if you've got a broken neck. You know, unless you're on death's door, you turn up for work in WWE. And when you don't...
So what do you think is going to happen?
Most likely it'll be a decent match and Roman Reigns, like WWE so badly want Roman Reigns to be the guy. Like, it's unbelievable. Yeah, and so they have to make it look like Reigns comes out of a battle and is loved by the fans. But what I think will happen, Brock Lesnar being Brock Lesnar, is he'll go how Brock Lesnar wants it to go. Obviously, he can't walk away with the title, and he will lie down for the 1, 2, 3. But I don't think it's going to be smooth. And I'm concerned as a fan that it might end up not being a very good match.
Okay.
Because Brock might purposely make it a bit of a difficult match.
Okay.
He might basically look at it from business terms. Brock's walking away and he probably will never come back to WWE. I don't think he'll make a return after this.
You don't think so?
No, he's had 2 stints. He's made a major impact. They've had him now for, I think, 5 years. This will be his 5th year from when he did his comeback.
Yeah.
He's been the champ, I think, on 3 or 4 occasions. He's beat Triple H. He's beat The Undertaker. He's beat, in this current stint, he's beat John Cena.
Okay.
He's beat The Big Show. He's beat Roman Reigns. He's beat the top guys around at that time.
I'm with you.
There's nothing left for him to really do. And his age, I don't think it'd be worth bringing him back again in the future. Anyway.
How old is he?
He's in his 40s now.
Is he really?
Yeah. So I don't think it'd be worth bringing him back in.
Okay.
Again. So my concern is that Brock being Brock He's apparently no-showed. When he no-showed, apparently he was with Dana White. That's what.
Well, this is
he was
what I
pictured with Dana White.
This is what I was saying to you off camera. He's coming back to the UFC.
Definitely, mate.
He's coming back to the UFC, and I think he'll fight in the Octagon later this year.
He'll probably do about a 2-year stint, and I think he'll hang everything up for good.
A few guys have expressed interest in fighting Lesnar.
Of course, he's got
a guy called John Jones is interested in fighting him. John Jones was the light heavyweight champion, for quite some time until he had to vacate because of illegal substances.
Yeah, he's had the same issues as Brock.
He's had some similar problems, but that would be an amazing fight. John Jones against Brock Lesnar, and that would sell tickets. Pay-per-view wise, they would do phenomenally well. So I envisage that happening, I think, later this year. CM Punk is going to come back to the UFC. I think he might be fighting in a few months' time. Maybe in June, if I'm not mistaken, in his hometown. And obviously his first fight in the Octagon went a bit sour. You know, he lost very badly to a guy called Mickey Gall.
Yeah.
And he got demolished horribly. But this whole crossover thing is very interesting,
It is
man.
interesting.
You know, you've got Brock coming over, potentially. You've got CM Punk making a return because he wants to prove himself to the MMA world. You've got Ronda Rousey, who I believe is going to be at this year's WrestleMania.
Yeah, she's in a tag team match with Kurt Angle versus Triple H.
And she's really happy. She's really happy.
Yeah, I mean, to touch back on, I mean, it's very interesting, the crossover. Yeah. To touch back on Mania for a moment, there's a number of matches that are interesting, but one of the most interesting matches as well. So Roman Reigns beat Undertaker last year.
Okay.
And that was part of WWE trying to get Roman Reigns over with the fans.
Right.
And the fans to accept him. They still don't accept him. Because in this current age, when we used to watch wrestling as kids, the person that was over was the person that the business had chosen to put over. We only saw them on the telly.
That's true.
So the business made them look as good.
That's true.
They'd beat everybody. They'd have a gimmick that the people in the stadium would like. And that was it. Now, with social media, with how much people understand about what goes on behind the scenes, it's really more than ever the people who choose who goes over, who. So what WWE is really trying to do is push this guy, give him the push, as they call it in wrestling. It would have worked 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's not working because people are just not into him.
Yeah.
They're just not into him. They're into other people who feel more authentic, who feel more real, who are, you know, probably more active on Twitter and are probably just...
Yeah.
Their character is more who they are in real life.
So what about Brock? Is
People
Brock
are
loved?
Oh, loved.
But he's a very strange character in real life.
Even though he's meant to be a heel,
People
which in
love
wrestling terms is a baddie, basically.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? At the end of the day, what he's done in wrestling, in my opinion, is he's given wrestling legitimacy. He's made wrestling look very authentic. The stuff he does in the ring, no joke, it's the most real stuff I've ever seen in a wrestling ring. As in, there's no way of faking what he does to people. He's punched people in the head for real. He's bust people open for real. He elbowed a guy in the head until he bled.
Yeah.
And for real.
You sent me the
like
clip.
a UFC fight.
Yeah.
The way he German suplexes people is real. Like, it's just a real German suplex, and it's just up to that wrestler to land as best as they can to not break the neck. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
The way he broke Vince McMahon's hip.
Really?
Vince McMahon obviously let him slam him, but I think he broke his hip.
Wow.
For real. Yeah. So he's built legitimacy, and people just like him because he is what he is. He's a badass behind the scenes. He's a badass in the ring. He's beat people up behind the scenes. There's been fights backstage, and he's had people up. Yeah. People know that he's got UFC pedigree, so they know that he's a legit monster.
Oh, he is.
Right?
Did you watch any of his fights in the UFC?
Yes, I have. Absolute monster. He punched a guy so hard that
Heath Herring.
Yeah.
He
rolled across the ring.
Mate, he punched Heath Herring so hard that Heath Herring did a backwards roll.
Yeah, I saw it. And then how low did Brock get when on the follow-up Brock just ran and was like a snake on the floor, like he just got him in this grappler position, like, you know, after that punch immediately Brock runs in super low.
Yeah.
For such a massive guy to be that fast and that.
He's very athletic.
Well,
very athletic.
I sent you the stuff.
But he really degraded him. Did you see what he got on top of him and started riding him like a horse?
Yeah. It was nasty. Brock's a very aggressive guy.
Yeah.
With John Cena, Brock was doing an old school, like, he was just German suplexing. He German suplexed him 15 times in a row.
Wow.
Right? And he was twisting his hips like an NCAA amateur wrestler, just like going around him like an Olympic wrestler and just picking him up from a stationary position off the floor and just chucking him over his head one after another. I mean, the guy's no joke. So that's why the fans love him, because he's just a legit badass.
Yeah.
Now, the fans also like people who are, funny and intelligent, and they're just over because they're a cool character. It's happened in years gone by. They brought Dave Bautista back.
Oh, okay.
To win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And to go into WrestleMania. And the whole thing went horribly wrong. He got booed out of the arena at the Rumble. And then at Mania, they had to change the main event because they wanted a guy called Daniel Bryan to win.
Okay.
Daniel Bryan's in wrestling terms, he's like a normal guy, but he's like probably a 14, 15 stone guy. He's probably like barely 6 foot.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he's still a big guy, he's still a tough guy, but in comparison to these guys who are like 6'5" and 25 stone of muscle, but the WWE fans loved him. He was massively over. He's massively over, right? So he wasn't in the Royal Rumble. WWE made the decision not to put him in the Rumble, and
didn't go down well.
Batista got booed out of the building to the point where Batista was like, "Why are you booing me?" He started to turn on the fans.
No way.
Yeah, it went really horribly sour. Batista went into the main event at the WrestleMania, but they let Bryan win because they had to do a last minute thing and put Bryan in the main event.
Wow.
So the fans have got more power now than ever, and I think they're going to put Reigns over. Reigns will probably get booed at the end of Mania this year, and they'll want him to hold the belt. And I don't know how they're going to, because what they've done, they've built Brock and Roman Reigns. So for the last few years, Brock has been built as the baddest mofo in town.
Yes.
If he does lose, he loses by cheating. Basically, someone cheats him out of the win, or he loses in a way that by fluke or something, right? Like he lost to Goldberg in the build-up for the WrestleMania match. He lost to Goldberg.
Yep.
But they let him win at Mania on the biggest stage of them all and come out with the belt. So that was his last challenge to wrestling. They let Brock break the Undertaker's streak. They've then let Reigns beat the Undertaker as well. So they've tried to build these two guys as the toughest guys in the world. But the problem is, Brock's massively over. He's got heat in wrestling terms, which means that, he's just, massive heat backstage. No one likes him backstage. No, the fans.
So what does heat mean? Heat
can mean a number of things, but like in backstage terms, if you've got heat, that means the locker room's got a problem with you.
Okay.
Or you're attracting heat's a good thing, but it can also be a toxic thing because, it means that you might be hard to do business with, or you're not giving as much as you're taking.
I'm with you.
Brock's got heat massively with everyone.
Okay.
Roman Reigns, I think he's well liked backstage, but I think
the fans hate him.
The fans, probably hate is maybe a strong word, but just not with.
They're just not into him.
They're not on the side. Simple as. So it's going to be interesting. You've got John Cena versus The Undertaker.
Okay.
John Cena's going to win that.
Okay.
Obviously.
Undertaker's been around for a long time.
I know. I think the thing with The Undertaker thing, I think he was almost not meant to come back this year.
Really?
I think John Cena's a veteran.
He's another huge MMA fan,
Yeah, exactly.
The Undertaker.
Yeah, he said that if
had MMA come around
as big as it is now,
when he was into wrestling, he would have definitely been a fighter,
an early adopter. I mean, the thing is with Undertaker and Cena doesn't have anything left in this business to accomplish.
Really?
He's a 14-time champion, 15-time maybe. You can't see me. He's won everything.
Yeah.
He's beat everyone.
Yeah.
He's beat The Rock at WrestleMania.
Okay.
He's beat, although he didn't beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, he beat Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
He's beat Roman Reigns.
Okay.
He's beaten other people. He's beaten the biggest names now. He's beaten the biggest names back when we used to watch it as kids. He's beaten them all.
Okay.
He's won that many titles. He's got nothing left to achieve. He's the Hulk Hogan of this generation.
Yes.
He's had his ups and downs. He's a bit like Roman Reigns, but the kids love him. The younger fans and the families love him, but the
fans like me would just... Not really. I was never really into Cena.
It's just annoying. It's just annoying, isn't it? Because he's a wholesome, good American, Hulk Hogan-y kind of character.
Rapper.
Yeah, so there's nothing left for him to achieve apart from him and The Undertaker at WrestleMania because they've not really fought each other much before.
Okay.
So, Undertaker's last year, everyone thought he was retired, but as not, I think he's going to come out of retirement once more and they'll let John Cena beat him. Undertaker will ride off into the sunset, and then probably not long after, Cena will probably hang up his boots as well.
You think so?
Yeah, as in over the next few years, they'll retire him in the right way.
Okay.
But yeah, there's nothing left for him to do, so he's there as an exhibition now, if that makes sense.
I'm with you.
He probably won't be a champ again, I doubt it.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's interesting stuff. It's political wrestling is as much as it is entertainment.
Thank you for that. That's been very insightful.
Yeah, there's a lot to consider. I think Brock coming back to UFC is going to come back to UFC with massive stock. Now he's going to come back with, and he's probably going to bring a few wrestling fans with him.
Definitely. I mean, even when he fought in the UFC, he sold tickets, man.
Yeah.
He sold tickets, high numbers.
The guy's a beast.
No, he is.
I saw them breaking down his stats, and he did something like 45 reps of 200-pound chest press. Because they do these different stats for these guys.
That's insane.
I mean, that's like 150 kilos or something, 100-something kilos.
For how many reps?
45. He was able to jump from he was able to jump 10 feet.
Are you being serious?
Yeah, some madness like that. Like a run and jump.
No, he's huge and he's super athletic.
Last year, he leapfrogged Bill Goldberg. From a stationary position, he jumped over his head.
What?
Goldberg goes to spear him, and he jumped over him. Like, from a stationary position, jumped him clean.
That's crazy.
With his legs split apart. Remember the other year when he shooting star pressed? Back in the day at Mania.
And broke his neck.
A number of years ago, he came off of to do the shape. Instead of a moonsault where you come off backwards and flip over, he went like that, forwards, but broke his neck because he didn't land properly.
Yeah.
He was encouraged to do that move by somebody, but it wasn't a good idea.
No, it wasn't.
But the guy's an absolute specimen. That's why I just thought I would touch on Reigns and...
No, thank you for that.
Instead of the other matches, because there's a lot of other matches, but...
Yeah.
They're not really... Unless you're into wrestling...
I mean, I didn't even touch upon the other UFC fights and stuff,
card,
but you've got some crazy fights, man. I mean, the co-main event, Thug Rose against Joanna Jędrzejczyk for the strawweight title. These women, man, monsters.
Kill each other.
Horrible. They fight. They fight.
Batter each other.
Yeah, ooh. But and you've got a whole bunch of other fighters as well. You've got Michael Chiesa fighting Pettis. You've got Conor McGregor's boy Artem. Have you got some good fights?
Have you got good seats?
Yeah, I have. I've got some good seats, man.
Like quite near the front?
Not like near the octagon, because they were just ridiculous, like grands.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But we've got some really good seats, man.
Good. And
really good seats.
Are you going to try and Conor Joe Rogan? You're going to try and see him afterwards? Is there a way to do that?
I have no idea.
You'll have to join queues and try and meet people and stuff?
I'll WhatsApp you.
I always get the impression that there's not that many people in the stadium. Like, not crazy amounts.
It's nothing like... So boxing and wrestling and these things, you get crazy numbers into the stadium. But with UFC, you get 13, 14, 15,000. I
mean, that's still massive.
It's still huge. But... You don't see the kind of numbers you see.
At WrestleMania, you get 80, 90,000.
Exactly.
70, 80, 90,000 people. Boxing, I don't know what numbers they are, so I'm not going to
No, neither do I know.
They do sell out huge.
But they do bigger numbers than UFC.
Joshua last night, Joshua Parker, I'm sure that was a massive sellout thing. So.
Did you watch the fight?
No, but Joshua won, didn't he, on points?
Yeah.
He went for 12 rounds. And the jab. That's all I really know. The jab kept him.
That's it. Yeah, I read little bits and bobs, so I didn't watch the fight. But
so we're gonna have. I think we're gonna have Joshua Wilder.
Yeah.
I think that'll be for the undisputed, because Joshua holds every heavyweight belt apart from that one, because there's lots of different ones. IBF, IBO,
way too many. There are
WBA,
way too many.
WBF, I think, is it?
Yeah.
So this last belt, I think if he gets that, he'll be the undisputed heavyweight champion.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if he joins the UFC after that. Maybe, I don't think he'll be an MMA fighter, but that co-promoting seems very interesting.
The thing that WWE will be scared about in the back of their mind, because this has happened not very often at all, but it has happened in wrestling history, and it becomes really tricky for WWE because WWE is basically fake. So how do they deal with this situation? And it's not been dealt with well in the past. What if Brock doesn't want to do the job? Meaning that he won't do the job in the ring. That's like a, that's a kind of a wrestling term. What if he doesn't want to do the job? Doesn't want to do business? You can't prize the title off of him.
No.
But it is a fake title. So what do you do? But then obviously, so say for example, Brock went in and he wouldn't lie down for Roman Reigns. But obviously Reigns isn't going to lie down for Brock because he's not meant to. Brock could end up walking out of that with the belt, which is very, very, very unlikely. But can you imagine if Brock Lesnar came over to UFC with the WWE belt on his waist?
That'd be a sight to see.
Can you imagine how many bums in seats you'd get? Can you imagine how much controversy that would cause? Equally, can you imagine Conor McGregor, because it's been rumoured Conor McGregor might come to WWE. Imagine Conor coming over to WWE wearing the UFC belts, appearing on WWE television. Imagine the draw that would.
Huge.
Imagine the controversy.
Huge.
Because it happened between WCW and WWF in the past.
Yes.
Where or other federations, where like the guy called Taz.
Mohawk.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was an ECW.
ECW champion.
He was the ECW champion.
And he used to walk out with the ECW.
I think he might have. I think they came to an agreement where he said, like, he agreed. What he had to do is he got signed to WWE, came to WWE, wrestled in the WWE, and then he had to go back. WWE let him go back for one night or 2 nights or something.
Okay.
Initially to defend his title and drop his title.
I'm with you.
To ECW.
Then he became a commentator for a bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's interesting. By the way, I don't think that will happen. I think Brock's not going to do that. I think Brock just probably wants to make a clean getaway. But if Brock did that, because part of the problem with Brock, and like Roman Reigns came out and did a promo where he was like, Brock Lesnar's a part-time champion, and and it was a real kind of promo, coming from a real place.
Yeah.
Because basically Brock Lesnar doesn't turn up. He just wrestles the main events.
Yeah.
The pay-per-views. He turns up here and there. He doesn't wrestle on Raw. He doesn't wrestle on the normal show. He doesn't even always defend his belt.
Sounds a lot like McGregor.
Yeah, he's just been clever with it, hasn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the wrap up on the WWE stuff.
Yeah. I think we should wrap it up now.
Wrap it there. We would say, let's get ready to rumble.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Next week there is no episode.
No, next week. Sorry, guys. No episode next week.
Because Ramaize is in he's going to MMA.
Yep.
223.
Yep, 223.
New York. Brooklyn. So have a great time.
Thank you.
And our next show, I'm sure we'll be reviewing that little trip and reviewing WrestleMania and the outcome.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, keep liking, keep subscribing, keep commenting. Stay safe on the 3rd of April. And take care to everybody out there.
All right. The stunner.